Hi guys, I'm Jenn Johns. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you 3 different ways to make homemade bubblegum. I'm going to be using Jello, Kool-Aid, and candy flavoring. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please make sure you do so. Let's get started on this tutorial. Our first way of making our homemade bubblegum is going to be using Kool-Aid for our flavoring. You're going to need 2 teaspoons of the flavored juice crystals. We're going to need 3 tablespoons of gum base, and I'll put a link in the description box so you can find your own there. And you're also going to need 1 tablespoon of lily white corn syrup, and we're going to be using between half a cup to a full cup of icing sugar, which is also known as confectioner's or powdered sugar. So I've put the gum base into a larger microwavable bowl, and right now they're really hard. And you can't really squeeze them at all, so we're going to microwave them to warm them up. But first we're going to put in our corn syrup here. So I've got this little container. It's going to wipe that off there. And then I'm going to sprinkle the flavoring and coloring on top. You can add gel paste if you want a brighter color, and you can also add more flavoring if you want it to be stronger. So I'm just going to mix this up, and then I'm going to put it into the microwave for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds in the microwave, the gum base is going to start to get a little bit softer. You can press it down. I'm just using the back of the spatula here to kind of mix that in. You want to mix in this flavor and this coloring into the gum base. Once you've got a decent amount of mixing done this second time, we're going to pop it back into the microwave for another 30 seconds. After the second set of 30 seconds, it's going to be quite a bit softer. So I'm just going to continue to stir it. And at the end of totally mixing this up, if I think that it needs another set of 30 seconds, I might maybe start at 15 more because I don't have very many chunks left in here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop it in for 15 more seconds. So I've got my mixture ready to be poured on top of some icing sugar here. So I'm just going to make a little hole in the center there. And then this is really hot at this point, so you want to be really careful. I'm only going to start out mixing with my actual spatula. Once you get the icing sugar mixed in, it will start to cool down. And obviously when it's exposed to the air temperature, it's going to cool off as well. So it is pretty sticky and messy at this point. So I'm just going to take it like this. And if you have it sticking, all you have to do is add more icing sugar to it. So if it's sticking to my mat like that, I just need to add a little bit more icing sugar here. And I'm just going to fold and press with my spatula to start. And then as the icing sugar gets incorporated, it's going to be easier to kind of knead it with my fingers. So just do a couple more mixing here, and then I'll be back when it's ready to be kneaded. So once it's ready to be kneaded, I'm just taking my fingers and folding it onto itself in this icing sugar. It's going to take on the color here. And I'm just continuing to fold and kind of pinch and press down at the same time. I want to make sure that I'm going to get to a spot with the gum where it's no longer sticky at all. And then obviously it will have cooled off as well. So I'm just going to continue to do this. And whenever I find a sticky spot, you can just press some icing sugar into that, and that will solve that problem. So I'm just going to continue to do this. So once you've got the icing sugar mixed in, it should be a nice chewy piece of bubble gum here, a gigantic one. If you don't want to pop that all in your mouth, you can use like a rolling pin here to roll it out, and then just use a knife or even like a pizza cutter to cut your bubble gum into little pieces. So there you go, how to make bubble gum with the Kool-Aid. And this will make about 10 pieces of gum, and you can just keep tearing it. You can roll it into little gum balls if you choose, or you can just kind of shape it into a rectangle as well. For our second kind of homemade bubblegum, we're going to be using Jello flavoring this time. So you're going to need 2 teaspoons of your favorite Jello crystal. Then we're going to need 3 tablespoons of the gum base. And we're going to be using 1 tablespoon of the lily white corn syrup. And again, we're going to need half a cup to a cup of icing sugar. So I have my gum base here in a microwavable bowl. I'm going to add my corn syrup into that. Just scrape that off. And then I'm going to sprinkle my flavoring and my coloring in there, and then give that a stir. Next up, we're going to pop it into the microwave for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds in the microwave, the gum base should have softened a little bit. So you're able to use the back of your spatula to press those down and to squish them. And then I'm going to do it as much as I can here. And I'm going to pop this back into the microwave, another 30 seconds. After a full minute in the microwave, we're going to have the gum base be quite soft now. So you should easily be able to mix it and stir it in. This lilac color is quite nice, but if you wanted it to be a brighter purple, you can of course add a little bit of gel paste into there. So just like with our first kind, we're just going to make a little well in the center of our icing sugar there. And then I'm going to take out my gum mixture and just get that poured in there. Again, it's very hot, so you probably don't want to touch it quite yet. And even the bowl is quite hot as well. You might want to use some sort of protection on your hand. And it is crazy sticky. So I'm just going to fold the icing sugar into the gum until it loses some of that stickiness and it's a little bit cooler for me to be able to handle by hand. Once you're able to handle it, you can start to feed the icing sugar into the gum just by kneading it into there. You want to try to work out any of those clumps of icing sugar that you end up in there. Just make sure you're giving it a nice motion of this kneading. It's kind of like when you're kneading bread dough as well. So I'm just going to continue to knead this until I don't have any stickiness left to the bubble gum, and by that I mean like there's nothing left sticking to my hands or sticking to the actual mat. The longer you knead it, the chewier the bubble gum will be, so you can't over knead it. Once the gum is nice and smooth to the touch and it's nice and stretchy, you can use a rolling pin or you can roll it out or you can just rip it into pieces if you choose instead. I'm using a fondant cutter here just to cut it into little shapes. And I'm just going to kind of tear off a little bit and then roll that up. And then using my fingers, I'm just going to shape it into like a little rectangle, like a piece of that really super chewy bubble gum. So our third way to make our homemade bubblegum is by using candy flavors. So here I have an assortment of different flavors that you can try out for some delicious gum. I'm also going to put the link in the description box for those and the gum base, and we need 3 tablespoons of the gum base. We're going to be using 1 teaspoon here, or 1 tablespoon of the corn syrup, and then half a cup to a cup of icing sugar. And for this one, we're going to be using some gel paste. I have my gum base in a microwavable safe bowl here, adding in my corn syrup, scraping that off. And then I'm just going to give a squirt of color, just a little bit. You can do any color that you want to. And then for this gum, I have got some strawberry flavor, and I'm going to pour in probably about half of it. I find that this one's not quite as powerful in flavor as the other ways are. So I just wanted to use a lot of it. So I'm just going to mix this up and then pop it into the microwave for 30 seconds. Just like the other ways to make the homemade bubblegum, we're stirring it after 30 seconds, pressing down, getting those now relatively soft pieces of the gum base mixed in. Into my icing sugar well goes my bubblegum mixture here. And again, it's hot, be careful, and sticky and messy. Take your spatula and fold it in until you can touch it. Once your bubblegum piece is nice and smooth, it will be nice and stretchy. You can tear off a piece, you can twist it and then tear it off, or you can use a knife and a fondant cutter like I did before. So then you just want to shape your piece into whatever shape you want it to be. I'm going to come back next with my thoughts on the 3 different ways to make the bubblegum. So there you go, everybody. 3 different ways to make homemade bubblegum. So what I thought about the Jello one was it wasn't enough color to it, so I added a little bit of gel paste at the end, and the flavor is okay, not over the top. The candy coloring here, or the candy flavor in this one, made it a little bit stickier to work with, so you had to add more icing sugar to it, which makes it kind of like a harder gum to chew. Now, my favorite one was the one with the Kool-Aid. It made a super bright, vibrant color, and then it also has a great flavor as well. Let me know which one you think you would like and what's your favorite kind of bubblegum. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys all again next time.